Hello, good people. How's everyone doing? Trust that everyone is doing well, having themselves a good weekend. As everyone say, trying to live your best life, right? So anyway, hopefully I won't be before you long on today. Truly, there is a lot going on in the market. Let me just say thanks for tuning in. I am Chris. We appreciate your time and your support. If you will, please hit that like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Drop a comment, say where you're watching from, or if I've helped you make any money, if I've inspired you to get into the game of investing into the stock market or crypto, give me a thumbs up, right? Do something, just drop a comment. I would greatly appreciate it. With that being said, let's get into talking about something. There is a lot going on in the markets right now, right? A lot of fear in the market. I mean, to check on the fear and greed, see how we're looking, but I won't even go there right now. But anyway, it's a lot going on. Crypto is looking ugly, right? Stocks is looking up and down, right? A lot of stocks is looking ugly. A lot of buying opportunity in both stock and crypto, but it's all about research. It's all about looking into things, right? Whether you do a lot of research or just a little bit of research, research makes a difference. If you're not going to do the research, hey, jump into ETF, DCA, dollar cost averages, buy what you can. But anyway, that ain't what I wanted to talk about on today. But if you're going to say anything about anything right now, you definitely got to touch bases on how the markets are looking. It's not looking good at all, right? But anyway, what doesn't look good to someone looks great to someone else. Let me try to comment on what I mean there. If you're doing your research and you're doing your studying and you're following the market and you happen to get into something at a right price, give two examples. Nvidia this week was down to 110. Nvidia normally will sit around 140, right? And so the difference between 110 and 140, if you have the pockets or the portfolio that has the pockets to be able to accumulate a nice amount of shares of Nvidia, then when it runs up, that'll look really good for you, right? But had you bought Nvidia like 2 years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago at this point, when it was down to 195, you might say, well, 140, 195, 195 would have been a bad. No, you bought it at 195 and then watch it run up to $1,330 a share, and then after it did the split, then your average cost would have been pretty good. I mean, my average cost when they did the split, my average cost was like 70 or 70 some dollars, right? And then if I continued to buy, which I did, and so at the split, I think the price dropped to like 129, something like that. And it ran up a little bit for 3 weeks, and then it nosedived for probably about 6, 7, 8 weeks, and then it leveled off and started going back up. Excuse me. But the difference is when you have a really outstanding average cost of like 70, and then it goes to 140, you can really make some money. So with a lot of great stocks being beat down right now, you can make some money. But you can only make money if you're in a position to build a nice size position when you're buying into a great stock at a beat down price. I said two examples, vice versa with crypto. Everyone is pointing out how Bitcoin is beat down right now. Yay and nay. If you had bought it in crypto winter when the price dropped all the way down to 15.9, and then it was up to like 101, the difference between 15.9 and 101 is, as one of my mentors like to say, up bigly, right? So if you have to be one of the ones that bought it at 195 and it went at the 101, you made a few dollars. But if you happen to be one was buying in at 1509 and it went up to 101, then you were up bigly. That's the difference of doing some research and identifying a good buy-in window. Again, none of that is what I was, well, I guess some of this is what I want to talk about. What I wanted to talk about on today is, my ear is itching. Anyway, what I want to talk about on today is, just had my note and it went away. Want to talk about profits, right? Want to talk about profits, taking profits. And as one of my mentors said about what he said, proper profit taking, whatever the case may be. Profits can look different from person to person, from portfolio to portfolio, from position to different position, right? What I can say based on my experience of being at this from 2020 to presently, right? You know, crypto, we're in run-up season, as some folks say, crypto summer, right? Then you have crypto winter. Well, everything in the market is like a heartbeat. Stock, crypto is like a heartbeat. It goes up and down, up and down. Sometimes circumstances and situations drive it up and down. Sometimes the season, run-up season, crypto summer, crypto winter, run things up and down, right? But we watched Bitcoin run up from 30-something, and it stayed in that 30, 40 range for a while. Then we watched it in the range of 40 to 50 for a while. And we watched it from 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, and so on, all the way up to 109. Now it's been tanking, right? If you're always buying, if you're always DCAing, one of my mentors, Jasper Reesing, he loves to say he believes in ABB, always be buying, right? Always be buying. I believe in always be buying as well. And then I was thinking about something I also believe in ABB, always be building your financial knowledge, right? So if you're always buying, you have a position that, you know, you in DCA and you have a nice strong position and you still DCA, you might have cut back, dialed back how much you DCA in. But let's say you were buying Bitcoin and let's say you got in it at 39 and then it ran up to 89, right? Whether or not you have a whole share or whatever, or multiple coins, whatever the case may be. 39 to 89 is you're going to see profits, right? So there's nothing wrong with putting some of those profits off the table, because it's not a true profit until you lock it in. That means until you sell and take some, right? So let's say you decided you wanted to take 20, 25% profit when it ran up to 89. So you sell a portion of your position and you either put it into other positions that you see a great buying opportunity in, or you just leave it as cash in your portfolio as buying power and you wait on it. Buying power, dry powder, whatever you want to call it, you leave it there and you wait on Bitcoin to do a pullback. So then it pulls back 10K and you drop it back in. Well, I'm messing up my average. Yeah, you're messing up your average, but you're increasing the size of your position. And the idea is to always be increasing the size of your position, especially at a great price. So you sold it when it was up, you put back in when it dropped. It's called buying the dip, and then you sell the rip. So when it run back up and it pulls up a little bit higher above that 89, you want to take some more profit, you can do the same thing. Again, you could put it into a position that you see a good buying opportunity in. But the point is, you always want to be taking a portion of your profit from your stock and your crypto, right? I hear folks talk about having multiple brokerage accounts. Yes, that is a good idea, right? You should have a brokerage account that when you pull your profits, right, you put a portion of those profits into your long-term holds, the brokerage account that you don't really touch as pulling anything out, right? So your long-term hold versus your VOO, that would be your ETF that tracks the top 500 stocks across the stock market. So you can have you can have SPY, which is the S&P 500. You can have VOO, which is Vanguard's version of the S&P 500. You got SPLG, you got SPLD, you got this. You got tons of ETFs, which is like ETF. You can think of it as a bucket of stocks all in one, right? So your long-term portfolio is what you DCA in on small amounts, whatever it fits your budget. And you also want to DCA with when you take profits, right? When you take profits from wherever it is, you're taking profits because you have a position that up nicely or up bigly, right? When you take that profit, you want to use some of it as buying power, dry powder. You want to use some of it to build your emergency fund if it's not where it needs to be. You want to take some of that, you want to put it into your long-term hold position. So that would be the brokerage account that you have for long-term holds. Whatsoever you use, whether you're using Vanguard, whether you're using Fidelity, or you're using Charles Schwab, or you're using Robinhood as your long-term hold, or you're using Moo as your long-term hold, Webull, the list goes on and on, right? But you want to have a portfolio that you are building your long-term positions in, holding forever, right? Or holding till retirement, or holding for, generational wealth that you're passing on to your kids or your grandkids, right? That is where you will put a portion of your profits, because you should be taking profits on a regular basis when you have a position that you had a great entry point and it runs up crazy. Because once it runs up, it's going to have a pullback. It's going to have a moment of resetting. It's going to have a crash. It's going to have the stock market constantly goes through crashes, constantly goes through pullbacks, constantly goes through reset. Now, it's hard to follow what someone is saying if you don't know what those things mean. Reset, it has a percentage that it pulls back. Pullback has a percentage that it drops. A crash has a percentage that they're known for dropping, right? But if you don't know these things, then you're lost when you hear it, right? So that could be food for thought. That could be something you want to research. Get on Google, you can research things. Yeah, so I want to talk about taking profits. That one, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm just giving you in a nutshell my experience of what I've learned, right? So you can learn it the hard way, that I never take profit and I watch my stuff run up, and then I watch it lose 1,000, right? Lose 500, lose 600, whatever it is you lose, depending on the size of your position. When it pulls back, that position is no longer going to be up, it's going to be down. Taxes. Yeah, you got to pay taxes when you sell it, right? But you only have to pay taxes once a year, so, there's no way around giving Uncle Sam his, and we live in a free country. That's the cost of doing business. So it's not like it's a bad thing when you have to pay taxes, but the main thing you're doing is increasing your wealth, growing your wealth, right? So you want to consider taking profits along the way in your financial journey and using those profits for whatever you deem necessary. Just make wise, sound decisions when you pull your profit, right? Yeah, talked about making sound decisions. You will always hear me say that. It doesn't change. That works in every area of your life. In every area of your life, you want to make sound, wise decisions. Whether you have to go have a conversation with somebody who has more experience, more knowledge of something to you, or whether you got to go to Google, whether you got to go to ChatGPT, whatever it is you got to go. You got to in order to make wise, sound decisions, you can't just think about something real quick and act like you know it all. You got to touch bases with something that could add more knowledge to the thoughts that you are considering, that you are weighing, right? Weighing in the balance, right? So, yeah. So you want to do that. So I have a note here. Is there still time because of my age? Is there still time because of what's going on in the market? Is there still time because of what's going on with crypto? As long as you are in the land of the living, it's not too late. There's still time to begin growing your wealth, to continue growing your wealth, to start growing your wealth. Stock market been around since 1792. It's not going anywhere. And since 1792, it's going up time over time, over time, over time, over time. Even in the market crash, it's still learning. It goes up time after time, time after time. So you need to be in the market. And I heard someone say on this week, I've said it before, they say the wise Warren Buffett has said, time in the market, always be trying to time the market. Trying to time in, trying to time the market, or time in the market. Time in the market means you're in the market and you're in the market for a period of time to give your money room to grow up, to mature, to increase itself. That's where you want to get to. You want to get to the point and you allow your money to grow up, to mature, to increase itself, right? So there's always time to do that, right? And then that leads into compound interest, that money growing over time and over time and over time, right? And then when you have circumstances or situation come up, you need to pull some profit, right? You don't want to, or at least I don't recommend you get out of a whole position unless it's a it's a crap company or it's a penny stock, right? You know, you only got into it for the purpose of generating funds, and it made you money. Well, once it make you money, if it hits a ceiling, you know, and it's not one of your long-term hold companies, it's time to take profit, put the money elsewhere, right? I could go on and on and on. This has become my passion, but I'm 17 minutes in, and I don't want to talk your head off, beating a nail to death, right? Hammer it to death. Just want to point out, you know, it's a good thing to take profit along the way. It's always a good thing to always be buying and build a nice, strong position. So when you take profit, you still have a strong position left, right? If you have a weak position and it goes up, now you want to take profit. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be wiping out the whole position. So, you know, my goal will always be, depending on how much a stock costs, right? If I'm buying a stock under, well, you know, if I buy a stock under $25, then I want, my goal would be to build it to 1,000 as quickly as possible, right? If I buy a stock under, I said under 25, basically my ceiling, you know, if it gets above, if I'm buying a stock that's over 50, then I want to try to build it to 500 as quickly as possible. If I'm buying a stock that's $75, then I want to try to build it to 250 as quickly as possible, right? If I buy a stock that's $100, I want to build it to 100 as quickly as possible. Whether that 100 be 90 days, whether that 100 be 6 months, whether that 100 be a year, whether I can get it done in 1 month because I have great things going on at the time, you know. Whatever the case may be, I always have a goal. And then I don't stop when I get to that goal. I just want to get to a decent number quickly as possible so when it run up, I can make nice profit, right? And then when I want to take profit from those nice, strong positions, I can take profit and still have a nice, strong position and still be DCA on a regular basis, right? That's what works for me. Might not work for you. You need to come up with your plan of what it is you're trying to do along the way in your financial journey. And I can tell you your first year or two, it's going to change a few times. When you start understanding the market, when you start seeing how the market works, when you start seeing how your money grow, then you may alter your plan along the way. You might build a better plan as you build your financial knowledge, as you learn, as you grow, as you gain experience. Okay, I'm gonna have to get ready to close out here. I could go on forever and a day, but I enjoy this stuff. It's good to me. It's good for me. It's kind to me, and it's been turning my world around. And I know it can do that for anyone else who's willing to learn the market, get in the market, start playing with the market, and start learning and growing. And you will become a believer. It'll make a believer out of you, right? It's Sunday. Went to church today, and what was something my pastor said that made me think of the market. He was talking about, when you get in something and you learn it, right? What he was saying, when you get into a relationship with the Lord and you start growing that relationship, you start learning studying His Word and understanding what His words say, then you get to a point where you believe that word. When you start believing that word and applying that word, you get the result that the Word of God say you will get from applying that word. I can fully understand and comprehend what he was saying. For one, I've been in the church for a while, and so I understand that. And I can understand it even better when I took that and you apply it to investing in the stock market or crypto. As you learn, as you believe, as you start seeing it work as it says it's supposed to work, as others who have shared knowledge with you, shared experience with you, and tell you how it works, when you start seeing it work for itself, then you become a believer and you start hitting it harder and harder and harder. Said all that to say, when you make sound decisions, all of that is just sound decisions. Learning something, applying it, watching it do what it's supposed to do, and then rinse and repeat, it over and over again, going from one level to the next. You got beginner, you got intermediate, and you got advanced, and then you got master, and then you got higher and higher masteries. Okay. I keep saying I'm going to cut it. I'm actually going to cut it here. Hopefully I've said something to spark your interest. Hopefully I've said something to keep your interest in the market. Hopefully I've exposed you to things that can put you in a better position to financially succeed in your life and in your investing journey. With that being said, you guys and gals, take care and be blessed continually, my friend.